Narcissistic men have two types of daughters. Pay attention because you fall into the category of one or the other. And how your father raised you, whether he was in your life or not, greatly impacted your choices in your relationships. The first type of daughter is the codependent, the empath. Okay, you are struggling to break the pattern of attracting narcissistic men. See, what happened was your daddy is a womanizer. Your daddy didn't treat your mama right. Your daddy cheated and or put his hands on your mama. Your daddy has kids with other women. He has multiple baby mamas. Your daddy might be an ex-convict. Your daddy might have just up and abandoned you. Those are all characteristics of a narcissistic, abusive man who mistreats women. And because your daddy did not sit you down and educate you on how to spot and identify a predator, abuser, womanizer, liar, cheater. See, that was your daddy's responsibility. Okay. And he failed you. So now that you're an adult, you are now attracting men with the same personality type and same behavior as your daddy. And if your daddy abandoned you, let's just say he was not around, then you more than likely had a narcissistic mother because daddy was out the picture. Who else are you around? Who's raising you? So whoever raised you, mommy, single mommy, she had a toxic personality. And now that you're an adult, you are now attracting men with the same toxic personality as your mama because your mama's a narcissist. But that's your daddy's fault too because your daddy didn't protect you from your abusive mama, and it's affecting your choices in men. Now, the other type of daughter, this is number 2, is the toxic narcissistic daughter. And she could be straight or a lesbian because I see a lot of lesbian women that are studs and they're close with their daddies. And the thing that they share in common with their daddy is they're serial cheaters. They're whores. Yes, lesbians, studs can be whores. They can abuse and manipulate women worse than men do. That's because they learn the game from their toxic womanizing daddies and they have a close bond with their daddy. It's like daddy raised a son, except it's a woman. So lesbian women that are close with their cheating ass abusive daddies, or she could be straight and bisexual, but she's narcissistic like her daddy. Which category do you fit into?
So while I do agree with her 90%, I also want to add that there's a third person as well. There's a third type of daughter. And, there's probably multiple types, but there's like me who's an overachiever, always reaching the goalpost and going above and beyond with the hopes that hopefully you'll see me this time. Will this be enough? Will this be enough? But you know what? I'm thankful for that because I wouldn't be able to accomplish and do what I do and juggle basically all of these different things if I wasn't an overachiever. But I know that overachiever comes from a place of lack. But I also can resonate with the codependency aspect because, as I was in college, I was like dating this one guy on and off again. And I remember the last time we like really like dated for real, he told me, he was like, you can't help but be with me. You just can't help it. I'm like, dude, what? Like, do you know who I am? You clearly don't. Because I also used to try to be nice all the time. That's something that I got as well. Like always, oh, be nice, be accommodating. But F that, I'm mean. I'm naturally not nice. Period. I'm generous. I'm gracious. I'm kind. I'm polite, but I'm also stern, and I can be a B. I can be a total B word sometimes when you deserve it. And so I'm done trying to be nice to people. I'm done accommodating people. I don't care anymore, period. Because you know what? Like my mama said, I'm not going to be the only one uncomfortable. And in fact, I'm going to cut you off. So me personally, if you guys have been here before, I cut my dad off a few years ago. I haven't spoken to him or seen him since. His girlfriend, wife, side piece of the moment, whatever, texted me the other day. I didn't realize she wasn't blocked yet. So I was like, thank you for reminding me that the door wasn't closed all the way. So now it's closed with a lock. And that lady got blocked. Because I don't want nothing to do with y'all people down there. You know, at the end of the day, once you let a narcissist back in, they're going to try to get revenge on you. And it's harder to get out. So prevention is always better than, what's the other word? Prevention is better than fixing. Okay? So she had to get blocked. He got blocked. And his mama got blocked. So it's like a chain of blockings. And if you've ever been in a live, you know I'm quick with the blocking. But I got that honestly because I had to block family members. And at the end of the day, like when you drop the dead weight of your jerk parents, your life improves. And this is as someone who has done that. You know, it's hard at first. And one of my sisters, I remember we were talking about it. She said, yo, it's sad. You know, it's sad that, you know, we have to cut him off. But I'm like, you know what? You know what was sad? Dealing with it and being hurt by him all the time. All right, let's keep hearing what more people think.
The reason why narcissistic fathers are so toxic and you should get away from them is because, one, they are mad self-centered. They walk around with this macho mentality when they not even really like that. They are super insecure. They walk around and they perfect this masculine way of moving, but it's really cap all insecurities behind that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you do not want to be around these individuals. They will exploit you. They will make you feel like nothing you ever do is right. You feel what I'm saying? You could wash the walls, and then they say the walls wasn't washed properly. You say, okay, well, they'll be like, well, I washed these walls, and I also washed your room. You washed their room, and they still say it's not enough. So they'll make you feel like it's never enough, never enough, never enough. You feel what I'm saying? Sometimes they might exploit you. They might do something like this. I had this happen in my own family. They might do something like this where they'll buy stuff. I don't know what the purpose of this is, but they do weird stuff like this. I don't know what it is. Comment below if you've dealt with something like this. They'll buy stuff and say you ask for it. You're a child, so you might want something. They'll buy stuff and you ask for it. They won't give it to you, won't give it to you, won't give it to you. They'll wait for it to expire. I don't know if that's them trying to show you that you don't matter or you can have it now because it's no good and you no good. I don't know if that's the case, but that happened in my family. They'll wait for it to expire, and then they'll say you can have it. Every time it's like a pattern. Oh my, oh Jesus Christ, is wild. It's wild, but it's like also for them they have poor boundaries, so they try to exploit your boundaries specifically. Like they don't have boundaries 100% themselves, so they automatically assume like they can break your boundaries because they don't have boundaries themselves. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, they're just this fake macho guys who brag about everything, but they do it subtly a lot of times. It depends on what kind of narc you're dealing with. Whether it's a covert narc or a vulnerable narc or a grandiose narc. You know, grandiose are just all over the place, extra, always bragging. You know what I'm saying? Like big children. But yeah, having a narcissistic father is different. There's so many more elements to it, you know. But just in general, they toxic and they're going to destroy you, and they're going to sometimes they will, you know, make their daughters hate men. Sometimes they will be on a DL. Sometimes they will damage their son so much till their son is just like them. In so many different elements. I could go on and on and on. I probably missed some. Comment below some things you remember about your family system. Like I said, it depends on what type of narc you're dealing with. But regardless, if you know contact, God bless you, continue to push forward, and that's amazing. If you still with them, you got to create a plan to get out of there, because we don't got time to be playing with the devil. You feel what I'm saying? It's your boy Josh different. I'm different, you different, we different.
So what if the narcissist in your life is your dad? And of course, if you're new here, I'm actually a diagnosed narcissist. One thing that I tell children of narcissists is that it's not your fault. How you were raised, what you were put through is absolutely not your fault. You cannot control who your parents are or how they raised you. In the eyes of a narcissistic father, they don't ever look at you as an adult. They will always look at you as a kid. They don't want you to have any type of autonomy over your life. And a lot of narcissistic fathers will try to make you super dependent upon them in your adulthood. Financially dependent, house dependent, whatever it is. They make you feel like you are not grown, like you are always going to be a child in their eyes. And if you ever call them out on that behavior of being toxic, of being abusive, they typically will try to discard you or try to frame it like you're an ungrateful little heathen. They will rarely ever take responsibility for what they put you through as a child. That's why I wrote my kids' book that's available on Amazon called Remember It's Not Your Fault, to help the children of narcissistic parents understand that it's not your fault how you were raised. That you can, the only thing that you can control is how you tell the truth, how you set boundaries as an adult, how you live and thrive as an adult. I'm not telling you to cut your parents off when you become an adult. I'm just saying they're not going to look at you as an equal. They will always look at you. It's kind of like they're always looking down on you and whatnot.
I'm about to share some lessons that I learned from my narcissistic father. These lessons I learned both directly and indirectly. So I learned by watching him, and I also learned by word of mouth. He taught me how to use what I got to get what I want. And I'm not necessarily talking body. I'm talking about personality, charm. And when I say to get what I want, I'm not talking about cash. I'm talking about mentally and emotionally. If I needed somebody to supply me something mentally and emotionally, I learned how to use my charm to get that very thing. Yeah, just like how narcissists or narcissistic people do. Sounds crazy, right? Let's put a disclaimer here. Your girl is healing. Your girl is also being rewired in the mind and both in the heart. Okay? Let's say that. Now, back to it. I also learned how to neglect my emotions. I learned that emotions does nothing to get you hurt. Turn them off if you can. Which realistically you can't do that, but what you can do is you can push them down enough to where you go numb. Yeah, I've been doing that for years. Not too long ago, decided that I wasn't going to do that anymore because it no longer supports me in the way that it used to, because I began to heal. So catching feelings, no. And if you got to catch feelings, then use those very feelings that you caught to get exactly what you needed and what you want out of that individual. Sounds crazy, right? I know. I'm trying to think of another one. Hold on. I got one. He also taught me how to read a person's body language and micro expressions. That's also a body language too. Basically to look at their insecurities, tell if they're lying. You can see basically how they feel about you through body language. You can tell if a person is sure of themselves based off of their body language. Basically teaching me to read people. Like he would have me sit and watch people. This sounds crazy, y'all. I know. I promise y'all I'm not crazy. Okay? I'm sharing this to put this out here because this is also a part of my healing as well. He has taught me to look at people and read people and basically predict certain things. And a lot of the things that I would predict that he has taught me to predict has been right because, like I said, my father's a narcissist. A lot of narcissists know how to read people, know how to prey on people's weaknesses and things of that nature. Now, like I said, I'm going to say this again. Okay? Your girl is healing. Your girl has worked through a lot of these things. Not only that, your girl's mind is being rewired. A lot of the things that I have been taught are no longer put into play. Okay? Your girl is learning how to basically be a better individual. Yeah, I just wanted to put that out there.
I was at my nephew's birthday party and we were watching the kids play and run around and be super cute, right? And my dad looks at me and says, "Does it make you want to have kids?" And I thought, what? Literally, what are you talking about? I've always wanted to have kids. I've talked about my future children. I've talked about what I'll name my future children. I've talked about what kind of mother I'm going to be. You have always known that I want to have children, so why are you asking me this question? So I immediately answer and say, it doesn't make me want to have kids. I've always wanted to have kids. Then he goes, "Well, are you prepared to do it alone if it comes to that?" Excuse me? So your daughter, who's sitting in front of you, who craves a relationship, who craves finding her husband, who craves having a family of her own, who's open about that, who's been open about being lonely, who's been open about waiting and not settling for anyone less than everything that I deserve. You're going to ask her if she's prepared to have children alone if it comes to that? To see doubt in me? To make me feel as though you have lost faith in the fact that I can have what I dream of? Because you're so insecure about the fact that you've settled in 2 marriages now and have never gotten what you wanted, and you have 5 children who don't really like you that much. So you want to make me feel worse about waiting for something that I deserve? Okay. So I snapped back again and I said, what? No, and it's not going to come to that. And he does the, okay. Like, how dare you get so upset by my cruel comment that was meant to manipulate you and make you feel bad? And then he, makes some stupid joke to try to make it out like he wasn't being an asshole, as he does. And I, joke back because I'm still processing what the fuck is happening right now. And we're also in public at my nephew's birthday party. And then he says something so out of pocket that I still don't even fully know what he was trying to accomplish with this. So he knows that I am attracted to black men, right? And most anyone who knows me knows that. And living in Idaho, there's not a lot of black men here, unfortunately. And so he says, why don't you just go hang out in the areas of town where the refugees live? What? I can't even begin to unpack the so many ways in which that is not a thing that should come out of your fucking mouth. You know what I mean? I'm just like, are you joking? Like, what? Like, not only is that racist and ignorant, but also you're saying to your daughter that that's how I'll find a man? That that's my only hope? Like, what? What are you saying? Like, there are so many ways in which this is a fucked up thing to say that there's like too many angles for me to dissect it from. It's insane, right? And so I sat with this and, bitched to my bestie about it and was just like, am I overreacting? Like, he just triggers me a lot, blah, blah, blah. And then, I talked to my other friend and start realizing, no, that was a pretty fucked up thing to say. And then I started talking to my other friend. I'm like, yep, no, okay, this was insanely fucked up. And I realized that it took me a couple days to fully process how incredibly messed up it was for him to say all 3 of the things that he said to me. And I didn't realize until dissecting this moment how many times he's done that to me my whole life, where he says something that makes you feel so awful, but he didn't technically say anything wrong. So, like, you're just overreacting. You're just getting triggered over nothing. And I'm like, what is this shit? Like, what? And then I remember this book that was told to me, A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. And so I did a little bit of research and came across the term covert narcissism. And literally, I feel like all of the puzzle pieces of my life clicked into place. I finally had an understanding of the exact flavor of emotional abuse I had experienced since the day I came out the womb. And now I could name it, and now I could understand that he's not just saying things without thinking. He's incredibly smart, and he knows what he's saying, and he's been doing this to me my entire life. And so, this off-the-wall conversation at my nephew's birthday party was the straw that broke the camel's back. And it was the final conversation that had any type of emotional depth that I will ever have with my father. From here on out, surface level interactions only. The boundary has been placed, and I'm done, and I have never felt lighter.
See, the thing about narcissists is they will train you to believe like what you think is wrong. Like when you feel disrespected or place a boundary, they will train you that you are not supposed to have boundaries. You are supposed to be at their beck and call. You are supposed to do what they want. You're supposed to make them feel comfortable. You are not supposed to recognize the bad behavior. And moreover, you are supposed to be okay with it. How dare you defend yourself and grow emotional intelligence and call them out on the BS? Not hey, maybe I should stop being a jerk and a bully. And then someone put in the comments, it's not just parents, it's bosses, it's people and employers, it's different people with power that get so, I think, excited to be in a position of dominance that they take it too far and do too much. My stepsister, for example, I saw a lot of you guys talking about your siblings. My stepsister was a bully. I don't know if she was a narcissist, but she was a bully and I hated her. Now I saw her like one time at one of my sister's events or whatever. I said hi to her, but she know what's up. She know what's up. And at the end of the day, like, you have to do what's right for you. And those people, they want you to be their victim. They want to be able to hurt you, mistreat you, call you out your name, disrespect you, do bad things to you. That is what they crave. They feel good when they do things like that. But you know what? It's time to cut those fools off, okay? You matter more, okay? You are not that child anymore who doesn't have options, okay? Hopefully. You are a grown ASS person, okay? And it is time for you to take back control of your life and not let people continue to victimize you, period. And it sucks. But the reality is you have a right to your rage. You have a right to be angry. And you know what? This might be hard for some people to hear, but you have a right not to forgive them. How about that? You have a right to hold the grudge, okay? Because sometimes grudge holding is accountability, period. You have a right to hold the grudge and keep the door closed. I think sometimes people just tell you, oh, turn the other cheek. Why? So you can slap me in that one too? You already did too much. I'm not saying my dad ever slapped me, but I'm just saying, oh, so I'm going to turn the other cheek so you can hit me on both sides? I don't think so. You hit me, I'm coming after you like a bulldog in a china shop. Period. I'm pressing charges, honey. Period. And at the end of the day, that is how we have to be. There's even, I used to meditate with some like Indians, and they even said in Sudarshan Kriya home practice, they even say, protect your mind, your mental by any means necessary. Period. Protect your mind by any means necessary. So you might not be able to leave today. You might not be able to leave tomorrow, but you get yourself together and you leave them in the dust. Pay them dust. Period. People that purposely try to hurt you and bring you down, they do not deserve to be around you. Point blank, period. At some point, you have to realize that you don't have to get bullied by this person. You don't have to experience this anymore. Once you're grown, you can say no. And some people won't get it. You know why? Because maybe that narcissist is paying their bills. Maybe that narcissist, maybe they're a narcissist. Maybe they also know what they've done, so they can't call out the person because then they have to recognize what they've done to you as well. But you know what? F them. Period. Live your life. YOLO. Yo freaking low. Period. And they've stolen enough of your time. It's time for you to reclaim some of that stuff back. They've done enough. Period. And you know what? My controversial opinion, you were a victim. People always say, I'm not a victim. But you might still be a victim of your parents. And you have to acknowledge that. Period. You don't have to be forever. But it's important to acknowledge that you either were or you might still be. And also acknowledge if you're victimizing anyone. Because a lot of times what can happen is you see something and you end up repeating it. Okay? So hold yourself accountable. Be mentally aware. Pay attention to how you are interacting with others. And do not continue these disastrous cycles of nonsense. All right. I'll see you guys in a minute. We'll keep going.
The main reason narcissists are so critical of their daughters is because they're so insecure about themselves. And I know it sounds weird because narcissists come off as being overly confident, cocky, and having this huge ass ego. Well, it's all a mask because they're really just concealing the scared or terrified little person inside of them that they don't feel confident enough to actually do good. For example, my dad's always been very insecure about his body. He will never say it explicitly, but he's always just made references to me growing up on how he needs to lose weight, seeing what new diets he's on, what new supplements he's been taking. Like, it's always been a consistent thing throughout my life that my dad is trying to lose weight. And I know how that was projected onto me growing up because I have a very different body type than my dad. However, my fear of losing weight that stemmed from my own eating disorder, he kind of almost used his eating disorder to project onto me, to be like, well, if you don't want to gain weight, then you shouldn't eat this. You should eat this instead, or you shouldn't eat as much of this. And basically just trying to be my own nutritionist when I'm just like, let's look in the mirror, buddy. Even growing up, my dad was very weirdly aware of certain things I would wear and how it would make my body look. And looking back, that kind of makes me uncomfy. But the reason they do this is for that sense of control, because they're feeling so out of control within their own life and their own self with, for example, my dad and his weight loss. He then projects it onto me, someone who's also dealing with it, and also his child. So therefore, if he has this idea to lose weight and how to do it, I should be able to do it if that is my goal too. And in a weird way, when it was happening, it was like we were bonding over our eating disorders together, like without talking about it. But it's because we were both trying to achieve the ideal image that's condoned by the male gaze, and both trying to abide by these misogynistic beauty standards that are just unrealistic to meet, but it's still centering what men prefer. And in a weird way too, I do think my dad thinks he was trying to help me, because being a woman in this world, you learn that you are valued for your looks. And if you don't grow up feeling loved and accepted just as is, like as your base, you're gonna look how to find love. And we learn how to find love based on our appearance. Like, we know how that works. And so I just think it's sad. Like, I've heard a lot of stories about girls like feeling like they have to look a certain way to feel loved, and that's just simply not true. You should dress, look however the fuck you want, and if anyone has a fucking issue with it, bite them. Okay, maybe don't, because you could go to jail for that, but we'll look up some retaliations that are legal.
Yeah, I mean, I credit this to my narc dad in going with him on Saturdays, and he's a sociopath. He doesn't care is really the thing, but a child interprets that level of pathological apathy as hatred, because it really is when you combine it with his resentments of addressing my needs. But also, like, my mother, she's a narcissist too. So I used to be like, my stepdad's autistic, and it was a really hard thing to kind of have my mother, when my dad left, my mother just collapsed for 3 years, was beating me for wetting the bed, like just stopped parenting. I mean, some of my shame is in like, I don't have good like living habits because nobody taught me. And so she collapses for 3 years, and then all of a sudden introduces this banker autistic guy into the mix. And I would hear them as like a 10-year-old, like he would be talking shit about me, saying he doesn't trust me, like all of this, and hearing her siding with him. So, I mean, and this would go on into my 30s. I mean, this dynamic of him like treating me as though I'm some sort, like I found out my dad was a cheater because my stepdad was yelling at me saying, your dad's a Casanova. I didn't even know what that was. Like, I don't even still to this day know how like my dad, who victimized me with his philandering, was somehow used as a cudgel by this other guy my mother's sleeping with while she's just siding with him. My mother would start fistfights between me and my stepdad and take his side when I was a child. She says, well, you weren't easy. No, I wasn't easy because you guys were like traumatizing me. But you can see that this attachment style, again, it's like when people like, this is at root of what bothers me so much about the conversation about narcissistic abuse that goes on between consenting adults is like, okay, what about kids? What does this do to the emerging brain of a child when they're stuck in a relationship with these fucking people, right? Like, and yeah, I mean, I can be like in a post-coital glow and believe the person sitting next to me who's like, I can believe they hate me. I can believe somebody like literally like, you know, it just knows no end, this kind of belief in my own like unlovability. But it's not real. It's a distortion. It's one of the worst. I mean, I may start crying. I mean, this is like one of the worst things to do to a child. This particular distortion, to make a child believe everyone hates them. I mean, it goes beyond the scapegoating, right? It speaks to the resentments that a narcissist feels consciously and subconsciously for their children that are all encompassing, that the child is an imposition to them. The child is a burden to them. They do actually resent and hate the child deep down. And it's obvious to the child's subconscious that this is true, but the conscious mind of the child can't actually grapple with it. And so it makes this dysfunction in their parents about them. Well, it's not that my parents can't love anybody, it's that nobody can love me. And it makes me so fucking angry to deconstruct this stuff. It makes my blood boil. The amount of rage that I have learned to kind of keep at bay and process because of this type of thing. The awareness of what the narcissistic parent does to the child. I mean, my dad would say, "Come back to me when you're not angry." That doesn't actually help a child's anger, and a divorce comes with anger. You know, it's these distortions we have in our mind. We have to figure out ways to truly see them for what they are. We may not be able to completely like neutralize that conditioning, but we can hopefully put it in its place and say like, this is not true. It's just really hard. This is the kind of thing that like makes me think I'll never truly be able to be loved because I can't experience it. It's not that people can't love me. They have. And I've just dismissed them because I don't know what it is, because I'm convinced they don't. I'm convinced that they hate me.
Here's 10 signs that you have a narcissistic father. Number 1, he makes every interaction or conversation about himself or close to it. Number 2, he gets cold and angry when you don't agree with him or do what he wants. Number 3, he criticizes you often but gets defensive if you give him any feedback about his behavior. Number 4, he only shows affection when you're making him look good or making him feel good. Number 5, he plays the victim when you try to hold him accountable for his behavior. Number 6, he expects all this praise and attention and gratitude, but he rarely gives any to you. Number 7, he guilt trips you for setting boundaries or needing space or having limits. Number 8, he competes with you and tries to outshine you, always looking better than you instead of supporting you and lifting you up. Number 9, he dismisses your emotions, invalidates your emotions, and calls you overly sensitive. And number 10, he demands loyalty, blind obedience, even if it means sacrificing your emotions and your well-being. If this resonates with you, you think you might have a narcissistic father and you'd like support to heal or learn healthy boundaries with a father like this, comment the word help below and I'll send you some resources.
So it has come to my attention that somebody has been sending my father my TikTok videos, and now he's thinking that these videos are about him, which I don't expect anything less from somebody that I know already suffers from main character syndrome. But you know what? Since you want a show, you want attention so bad, I'm finally going to do you the honor of giving it to you. To be clear, my videos were not about you. It was me strictly speaking about my experiences and speaking about things that I've seen in our culture and things that I've heard. You know, I've heard a lot of stories, seen a lot of things, and I wanted to address it, right? But if the shoe fits, then wear it, right? But for you to try to flip it on me and try to make me feel bad about it, I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm not, because it is not my fault that you can resonate with what I was speaking about. If you would have done everything right, and if you would have actually lived your life, right, according to the words that you were preaching on stage every Sunday, then you wouldn't feel offended by the stuff that I was saying, right? You wouldn't, because it wouldn't have anything to do with you. And now that you're taking it a step further, I wasn't even going to speak about it, but what makes me upset is that you're using my little siblings as a pawn to get under my skin and to get a reaction out of me. And honestly, good job, because it's working, and now you're gonna get the attention that you were asking for, because I'm not scared of you. I'm not scared of anybody. Let's talk about that. And if anybody comes under my comments or comes and messages me and tells me to take this video down, you will be getting blocked. That's one thing about it. You will be getting blocked, because this person that I'm speaking about, my father, this man has been lying on my name for as long as I can remember to try to ruin my reputation. So why would I, now as an adult that don't need anything from him, that he can no longer manipulate, he can no longer abuse, right? Why would I care about his reputation? I don't, right? Because this person claims to be a pastor, You have 2 kids outside of your marriage. As a pastor, I have recent messages of you still cheating on your wife. Still cheating on your wife. So if you really were worried about your image, is that something that you should be doing? But I'm the one that's ruining your image. You're so quick to tell other people, oh, she put me in jail. She kicked me out of the house. She did all this. How can I possibly kick you out of your own house? How? Does that make any sense? You've been leaving your house, consistently leaving and coming back, leaving and coming back, leaving and coming back. You're one of the most inconsistent person I know. You get into the smallest disagreement and you're ready to abandon your whole family. And this is something that's been going on for 12 years. But I made you leave. You're so quick to tell people that I put you in jail, but do you mind sharing with the class why you went to jail? Because these records are public. This is not stuff that I'm pulling out of my ass and just saying. These are something that is something that anybody can access because it's public record. So do you mind telling the truth about why you went to jail? No? Exactly what I thought. So if we're going to go ahead, right, and mention something, make sure that it's the truth and make sure that there is nobody that can come out and counteract what you say, because I don't say anything that I don't have proof for. So I was in a corner minding my own business. I wasn't saying anything to you or saying anything about you. I wasn't even bothering you. You decide that you want to talk about me and call me out my name and call me a shin, call me a boozing, saying that I'm ungrateful, calling me all kinds of names. This, again, from a pastor, from my own father, right? You want to sit there and say all of these things about me. And now, here I am. Here's the reaction. And now I will be speaking about my experiences, and I will be speaking about all the messed up things that I've had to go through, all the stuff that I had to survive while I was under your care. And I have proof for every single one. I never speak about anything that I don't have proof for. So before you go and spread your lies to other people and go tell other people, oh, she did this, she did that, make sure there's no proof. Make sure that you have proof, actually. Make sure that you have proof of what you're saying, because I will be coming with mine. And I will not be speaking about my story because I don't give a damn about your reputation when you've been sitting here lying about mine since I could remember, honestly. You wanted to have a bad teenager so bad. And it just, I don't understand it. It just blew your mind when I was doing what I was supposed to do. I was doing everything that I was supposed to do. I was going to school. I was working. I got me a job. I was paying my bills. I was taking care of my responsibilities. It blew you so bad because everybody else around you had a bad teenager, and I guess you wanted to resonate with them. I don't know. I don't know why you do the things that you do. It's weird as hell. I don't know why, but before you come at me and before you mention my name and before you want to speak about me and you want to call me out of my name, make sure that you have proof for every single thing that you say, because I will be coming with mine. And I don't care about how you feel, how you gonna feel about it, how you're gonna take it, because your feelings is not my responsibility. It's not my fault that you have the emotional intelligence of a 2-year-old. So let's be respectful and let's close our mouths. And honestly, if you really wanted to fix the issue or talk about it, I've called you multiple times. I've texted you multiple times. You blocked me because you didn't want to talk about it. You didn't want to fix it. So I don't understand why you're going to other people. You're going to everybody else except for the person that you claim you have the issue with. You have my phone number. So if I were you, I would go ahead and use it while I still have it, because you won't have it for long. I don't care who you are. If you're interrupting my peace and you're messing with me, you're messing with my peace, you will get blocked, you will get removed, and you will have no type of access to me whatsoever. I really don't care who you are. And I hope your little minions send you this video, because you're my #1 fan. You'll be the first one to watch my videos. So I'm sure you're going to get this, right? So I don't know how you're going to take it, and I honestly don't care how you're going to take it, but know this, now I will be speaking about my experiences, and I will be talking about you now. So have a great night.
I also wanted to jump in and interject here again, because it's a certain type of experience when your parent, especially your dad, puts other people in front of you. Like, my dad always made it clear to us that, especially to me, from what I could see, that his women were more important than us. For his women, he would pay for the entire friend group, literally for a dinner for her birthday, right? And get a private room in this expensive restaurant and pay for over 15, 20 people. But me, his daughter that's working for him, he's cutting my check because he said he didn't have money. For me, his daughter that's working for him, he didn't buy my tent that he knew I needed for the biggest pop-up event that I ever did in my life. He was supposed to help me vend and get the tent. You know what? He did not get the tent. So I told him, you cannot vend with me. Don't even bother coming. And he was still cutting my pay, mind you, because he said he didn't have money to pay me. But you know what he did have money for? My other sister's birthday party with a bunch of her closest friends at another expensive behind restaurant. And then he bought her a Louis Vuitton bag while simultaneously chipping away at my money from my paycheck, knowing that he already wasn't paying me a livable wage, nor was he giving me insurance or anything. He said he didn't want to pay me a livable wage because I was already living at the house, so I didn't need a lot of money. And I was fine with that because, I was out and about doing my thing. I had enough to where I could still exist. And I figured, I'm helping with the business. This is going to pay off at some point because, you know what? I don't have a problem putting in the effort. But it comes to a point when you tell me you don't have money to pay me, but you have money to do everything else. Also, he has a business, right? I told y'all my dad has money. And so he fixes things. Why my car battery, my battery on my key for my car died. I got a new battery. I asked him if he could replace it. He threw my key across the kitchen island. And safe to say, I did not get my key battery replaced. And this is a man who has multiple businesses fixing stuff. And when his daughter needed him, he threw it across the thing. He also tried to get me to mow the lawn, even though it's his house and he's a man. I bought a little mower and it barely worked, so then he ended up doing it. But for his woman, or his woman of the day, because he has multiple women, this is just the side piece who decided to stay, apparently. I'm not trying to throw shade at you if you watch this, but you were his side piece because he was married and you knew he had another girlfriend and another girlfriend. I don't know if I told you guys, but his other side piece I thought was going to kidnap me and unalive me one day. That was scary. So, and I've had to cuss out 2 of his side pieces and tell them to stop calling me because I don't want to deal with drama. So this is why I have not spoken to my father, and I never will again. Why? Because he's drama and he's a narcissist and he's a jerk, period. Now, does he have redeeming qualities? Certainly. But the bottom line is I can relate to everything that these people are saying. And at the end of the day, it's not okay, period. All right, let's keep going.
So I cut my dad off a couple weeks ago, and I haven't really talked about it much, honestly, at all on here. I have made some videos about, having a parent that's emotionally absent, and that parent I'm talking about is my dad. I'm gonna try really hard not to make this long. I just figured maybe if it comes on your For You page and you've never seen me before, it could be relatable. And if you're thinking about possibly doing this to not even a parent, just someone that you know or they have the same kind of traits, maybe this video is for you. I'm just gonna give a tiny bit of backstory. So growing up, my parents are married. I had a very normal childhood. If anything, I was a huge daddy's girl. I loved my dad. I was obsessed with him, definitely put him on a very, very high pedestal. And I recognized that a lot of my friends and people that I went to school with at the time, people around me, they didn't really have, active fathers in their lives, or their parents were divorced, so they just didn't really see their dads as much. So I felt very lucky in the sense of having a father that was physically present and there, and I was able to touch him, and he was there. At the same time though, and I think now I can see it as generational trauma, but at the same time I'm almost positive that my dad, even though like he's a good guy, he tried as hard as he could be to be the best father when we were a kid. And I feel like he just kind of gave that up as me and my brother were getting older. And also growing up, like, and I've just kind of realized this, not realize it now, but more so like I'm just like looking back and like reflecting and seeing that it was like just these thoughts are becoming more prevalent. My parents definitely played into that very traditional man of the house role. My mom was always saying like, you need to make sure like the dishes are clean, you need to make sure the house is clean, like, you know, like a man's never gonna marry you if you like don't, you know, like all those like really toxic gender roles. My parents definitely played into them, and it makes sense. Like they are of like that generation, so like they're like born in the 60s, like obviously like they're going to kind of like play into those like traditional roles. But like the thing is, I'm not that type of bitch. I'm just literally not. Like I don't get it. Never understood it when I was a kid. Never understood why my mom like would do stuff like this. But also it's just like my dad, you know, when I was getting older, like sure, he did help around the house and stuff like that. I'm sure it was like equal for them at some point, but it's like obviously my mom was always doing more. My mom always signed my permission slips. My mom always, you know, took me to and from like any kind of like cheer practices or soccer practices or like gymnastics or anything that I had to do. I remember one time like I was supposed to go to this dance class and my dad was supposed to drop me off, and once he got there, you know, it was like, I think it was like $30 for me to like attend that day, and he didn't want to pay for it, so we left. Like, okay. There would be times where we'd go to the grocery store and my mom would maybe be taking a little bit too long in there, so he would just leave. Like, he would just leave my mom at the grocery store. Like, sometimes I'd be with her, so, like, he would just leave us at the grocery store. He'd come back around and pick us up, but it's like, what the fuck? Like, why would you do that? And it was always, like, growing up, when going into, like, man of the house kind of things, it's just always what my dad wanted to do. It was always what he wanted to watch on TV. It was always what he wanted to eat. It was always what he wanted to do, where he wanted to go. Not talking about, like, you know, like, when we take family trips to, like, Disneyland and stuff like that, but it's just, like, it was always his choice. Like, fuck whatever my mom would suggest, fuck whatever we would suggest. It was always his choice. So, growing up, I understood that, like, maybe because you're the man of the house, like, you're the breadwinner, like, totally understand you doing all this. But, like, after, like, 2018, my dad started becoming, like, really, you know, sick, like, on and off. He ended up having a stroke in 2022. So he was out of work. And it was still like that, where even when I was still living at the house, like, it would be like, oh, well, we're still going to do what he wants to do. And, like, as a kid, I understood that. Because, like, okay, you're the breadwinner, you're the man of the house. Like, totally get that. But then, like, when you're getting older, he wasn't doing anything around the house. He was not helping anybody. He was, if anything, just, like, making our lives a little bit harder. It's like we would have to come home and clean the house after he just made it dirty from not doing anything all day. And he wouldn't feel bad about it at all. Like, he just kind of expected that you would come home and, you know, everything's all clean, because he's not going to do it. So, like, my mom's not the type of person to, like, see something dirty and be like, oh, I'm going to let that person clean it up. She needs to, like, have a really clean place. It's just how she's always been. And so, like, when it got to the point of, like, getting older and it was still my mom kind of conforming to, like, anything that he would do, even though he wasn't doing shit, like, he wasn't the breadwinner anymore, I started to, like, wake up and be like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. My issues with my dad started, like, I think probably, like, my early 20s, like 22-ish, I started, like, having big issues with him. And, like, I was still there for him when he got sick. Like, I was taking care of him when he had a stroke, took him to his doctor's appointments. I did a lot for him because obviously he's my father. I put my personal feelings aside for how I felt because, like, obviously I don't want anything bad to happen to my dad. But he wasn't helping himself. You know, even after he had his stroke, the doctors told him, you can't drink alcohol, you can't smoke. He went back to doing all of those things. And he was still complaining that he was, like, getting sick, not getting better. He wouldn't listen to my mom when it was time to take pills and all these things. You're not a fucking kid. You're a father. You're a husband. You're an adult. Grown-ass man. This is also just, like, a random spurt. I kind of forgot, too. I also promised myself that I wasn't going to travel with my father anymore after we all took a family trip to Cambodia, because he was insufferable on that trip. Like, truly insufferable, and thought the world revolved around him. So I told him, and I told my family, I was like, I will never take a family trip with him again. Just saying. Anyways, it got to the point where he would start to isolate himself every single day from our family. Like, he would spend every single day in our downstairs TV room for hours. And it was like, to the point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. So obviously I moved out. I moved to LA, and I just would still have to deal with like having to hear about this, and I just couldn't take it. And recently when I was home this past summer for about a month or so, there was some things that, like health things that happened, and I, came back home. He was still kind of doing the same thing, still kind of treating my mom the same way, and I just couldn't take it anymore. So I wrote him, a note just saying, hey, like I cannot have you in my life right now. For my mental health, like it's really just it bothers me. It makes me think of like every single day of just like everything I've gone through in my childhood, and like how he's still not listening. Right? Like we've had to preach millions of times, like, we just want you to get better. We don't want you to drink anymore. You're hurting us as a family. And he just doesn't care. And I can't personally put myself through that pain anymore. I know I am worthy of having a father who loves and supports me, puts 100% effort into like everything, like cares about my stuff, cares about anything that's going on in my life. And if I can't have that, then that's fine. I'm 28. I've gotten to this point, and I've been just fine. But like, just know, like, if you're going through this with a parent or anything like that, you are so worthy. You're more than enough. You're never too much. And like, parents have trauma of their own. I'm not really sure if my dad had like obviously a manual on how to be the perfect father. No one's the perfect father. And he was pretty good up until like I was a teenager going into like my early 20s. But I can't have that energy in my life anymore because it's killing me. And I deserve to live a happy and fun, full life with people that love and support me and give me the same effort that I give them. And so do you.
Have a narcissistic parent. What was the weirdest tantrum?
All right, so I'm gonna try to make this a long story short, but this is how my narcissistic father, one of his most dumbest rants and tantrums that he's had, led to me and him having one of our biggest and last blowouts, like our straight up fist fights. Here we go. I'm about to relive this. Now, y'all ask questions in the comments, and I'll be sure to answer and give more context because, again, there's just so many layers to this, but I'm just making long story short. We'll just go from there. So my father was completely, in a negative sense, so obsessed with the prom. Like, if he knew prom was coming up, prom season, if anybody else mentions the prom, he would just be like, don't talk about prom. I don't want to hear nothing about prom. Y'all not going to prom. And even when we were in middle school, you better not ask me to go to prom. You better not ask. So we was like, what is this dude's obsession with the prom? And because with a narcissist, there's usually always leaving stuff out or not telling the whole truth or not telling any of the truth. You're always misled and there's always pieces missing out of the puzzle. So eventually we found out that, he fell in love with my mother, love bombed, right? And he wanted my mother to not go to prom because he grew up very, very religious. He grew up very culty, from very church cult, religious cult, Christian cults from one cult to another. So he's just always been involved in that. So in any event, he expected her not to go to prom at all. My mom was like, boy, I come from nothing. The least I can get is a little bit of enjoyment in my life. I'm going to go to prom. Plus, like, you're not even my man like that. Like, we're not really on that type of time. So I'm going to go to prom and then I will see you after. And apparently he took that as such a disrespect, and that was heartbreaking, and, how could you, and this and that. And I mean, this man has literally held it over her head for decades, even though she has married him. She has chosen him out of all the other men that she's got with and dated. And like, he never, ever let her live it up. He would always hold it over her head. Anytime he was mad, somehow the prom came up. So in any event, time's coming to where I was getting ready to go to prom. And I wanted to go, but I knew not to make a big fuss about it. Now, this is what made me mad, because I'm not even talking about prom. I accepted the fact that I wasn't going to go. I wasn't going to create a fuss about it because I just knew what the end result was going to be. But you still running your mouth around the house. He would have these tantrums and these rants where he would just expect us to sit. And we have for minutes to several minutes, up to an hour, if not more, of hearing him just rant and just vent. And we would just have to sit there and just hear him. So he going off about the prom. Now my mom's starting to get upset because, again, now he's taking it back to 1980 something, and I was born in 1994. So I'm like, I don't give a damn what y'all talking about. So at some point he's in the middle of talking, and I just was like, can you stop talking now? And he was crocodile tears. He was crying and all that. He literally wiped personality, just changed, wiped his tears and said, shut the F up. Now, this man was a pastor at the time too. So it also blew my mind, because I'm like, oh, I'm seeing the side of this demon that I knew was there, but okay, you really manifesting that now. But I blacked out. So I said, you shut the F up. And right off the bat, I just knew. I was like, this is where it's going to have to lead to. He said, what, boy? And completely sobbing, crocodile tears, woe was me, covert narcissist, woe was me, to complete, again, rageful, angry, and just blacked out. He runs over to me, I'm sitting on the couch, he's choking me, right? Hands around my neck, and he's tight. My mom's like, Dewan, his name's Dewan, my name's Dewan. Dewan, you gonna hurt him, stop, get off of him. I remember, like, while he was doing it, I remember trying to get up just to see how much he was choking me, like, is you playing or are you for real? And I'm like, okay, this fool really choking me. Now, I don't know if it was me blacking out or if it was me blacking out. But all I knew is it got really dark and it got tunnel vision, right? And I just started losing it. Now, we learned martial arts. My dad taught us martial arts. We kind of grew up knowing how to fight. So I knew off rip, again, like that nigga trying to took over me, and it was game on. Like we was in the middle of the living room just giving each other body work. Boom, boom, boom. He hit me in the face. I hit him in the jaw. He giving me body work. I'm giving him body work. And I will never condone it or praise this or glorify this. But this is my life, my truth, and unfortunately my experience. So I'm just gonna talk it. But so yeah, we going at it, doom, 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 like two grown bears, just two grown men just getting it in right there in the living room, just tearing each other up. What made me snap out of it was he threw a jab at me and I dipped it and I hit him with an uppercut and I heard his teeth clench, like I heard that. And that kind of made me snap, like, yo, I'm fighting my dad. I'm fighting my man's, like, this is my dad. I'm putting my hands on him like this. It shouldn't even have to be like this, but I couldn't believe it. Next thing I know, my mom gets in front of us and my father was like, Michelle, get out the way so I can kick his ass. Get out the way. If you love me, you would get out the way. Again, here comes with the ultimatums. He said, Michelle, if you love me, you would get out the way so I can beat his ass. He ain't beat shit too. I'm sorry. I was tearing him up. But my mom took a deep breath and was like, no, Dewan, I'm not moving out of the way, my son. That's my son. I will not sit back and let you put your hands on him anymore. And that triggered him because now, again, ultimatum, you're supposed to choose me and choose my side. So he blacks out even more because now I'm thinking he about to go off on her. So he's getting ready to do crocodile tears, but he's also still angry. And he starts bitching and he started going off, getting ready to cry again. I was like, shut up with the crying. And I punched the back window and I got all this sharded glass bloody, like hanging out my knuckles. My knuckles are really bloody. And yeah, that was it. Like I just remember it just being like that. And then he like went out for a walk or whatever. And it was very awkward. But yeah, that was just another Tuesday though. On to Wednesday.
Alright, y'all, so lost custody October. November 25th, the judge signed the order. I haven't picked up my daughter since October because the day after I lost custody, I was supposed to be my weekend. It was the third weekend, and first, third, and fifth weekend is when I get her. So he sends her video saying, oh, she's not coming. I'm not coming because she called me on FaceTime and said, I'm not coming because I'm staying with my daddy and I don't want to go with you. I saw the video, I said, okay, whatever. It's not no big of a deal. There's no court order signed, so I have no wait on when to see her, right? Because here in the state of Texas, you need to sign a court order and signed by the judge in order to, enforce it. Fast forward to like the week of Thanksgiving, we found out she has type 1 diabetes. All right, him and his girlfriend gets to training because I wasn't in town, even though the doctors tried to call me numerous of times and they were unsuccessful, right? Fast forward to yesterday. I go to a first diabetes appointment. I go to my chart and I ask the lady like, hey, the doctor's been trying to call me for the past 2 weeks. They haven't been able to call me. So when we kind of find out, y'all, my information on my chart was completely wiped in the system. When the lady's telling me, what's your phone number? And she's like, well, that's not the number we have on file. I'm like, what number is that? She gives me the incorrect number. I telling her my address. She's like, that's the address we have on file. They put his address. So my chart allows access to both parents. For some reason, all my information did not match mine, and it only matches girlfriend's. Funny, right? Whatever. Because I have his girlfriend's number and stuff like that, so it matches her number. Whatever. Right? I ain't paying no big deal. It is what it is. I went there with my boo because the doctor also informed me that anybody who's around her needs to have the training. So, y'all, as soon as this man walk in, Then the lady like, is everything okay? He's like, as I stated before, it makes no sense. He's here. This is about her parents. This is appointment about her parents. And I'm like, yes, I am aware. But he needs to get the training that he needs. The same way you got the training and your girlfriend got the training, he needs to get the training as well as I need to get the training because our daughter's life is at risk. He then proceeds to tell me, he proceeds to talk about the past and talk about how I am as a person and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, ignoring him. I'm like, just letting him talk. He also called me a bitch in front of our daughter. Ignoring him, letting him talk. Yeah, and I'm just watching him like, because I'm tired of arguing, y'all. Like, I'm legit, when I tell you guys I'm tired of arguing, like, I'm tired. This situation is exhausting. So he then decides to talk about being a gangbanger in front of our daughter. He decides to say that I knew about his lifestyle before I got with him. And I'm just like, no, I didn't. Trust me, I didn't. And little you guys know, muy pendeja. I don't do crime or anything like that because I'm afraid to go to jail. I ain't going to jail. I'm not. No, I'm not that person. So, he then proceeds to threaten to my boyfriend and called him saying he's being controlled by bitch. Once again, calling me a bitch again. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, interesting. He then proceeds and says, I don't even understand why either of y'all are here because it's not like y'all gonna get her. I was like, well, there's a court order that says I get her first during the 5th weekend. What you mean? He's like, oh, she's not going with y'all. She's not spending no holidays with y'all. I'm a little confused. You can't really say something if the court order says that I'm supposed to have her. And he's like I said, you ain't gonna have her, and it don't matter because the judge has to sign the orders. I was like, look, funny for you, she signed on the 25th. He was like, well, since she signed on the 25th, where's my child support money? The Department of the OAG. He's at the OAG, Office of Attorney General. I've been paying to them. They just haven't sent you the money because they haven't gotten to your case. So he decides to argue at the hooligan, talk about he a gangbanger, he gonna beat my boo up. He for the streets and he just down there in front of our child. And I'm just standing there looking out the door like, and he like, and that's what she is. You see, she don't got shit to say. And to be honest, I'm not saying anything because my therapist said like, don't engage into it. Just let him talk because you're feeding into it whenever you respond. I responded once or twice, and I gotta get better at that. It's just practice makes perfect. Y'all, then it got to the point where like, the appointment ended. I called in my boo so he could go to the room so we could start the class of her diabetes. Our daughter decided to come and show me like what she got her in the treasure box and try to talk to me. He keeps calling her, let's go. And we're just looking like, I'm like, bye, have a good day in school. She's like, okay. And he's like, let's go. And then my boo is like, well, that's weird because for a child that he says wants nothing to do with you, she won't try to show you her things or try to sneak and talk to you. I was like, yeah. That's the dynamic of things. So now I'm in a term, I don't know what to do. Do I get her with the police at his house and expose her to that? Or do I just wait? Because I don't want to get the cops involved where I go get her with the police because he's refusing to let me see her. I don't want to put her in that predicament because she's been through so much. It's so much drama that we both have involved her in. And yes, I will owe the responsibility to that. But I'm tired and it seems like one of us has to be the adult in the situation. And that's why I'm in therapy and I'm trying to work with things with my therapist about. But it's like, do I just go with the police and get my kid? Or do I just step away and just let the situation die down a little bit? I really don't know. And before you guys crucify me, I haven't seen her yet because when the court order wasn't signed, and when the court order was signed is when we found out she had diabetes, and because I didn't have the training on her diabetes, it would have been very dumb to have her because I don't like in the class she has 2 types of insulin. They show me where to give it to her, how to give it to her, how to calculate it. So I'm glad I went to the class because her life would have been at risk if I actually would have gotten her these last few weeks after she was diagnosed with diabetes.
Narcissistic fathers be like, give me full custody of the kids and watch me do everything that you do and not complain about it. Watch me not need nothing from you, not need financial help. Watch me do this gracefully and never have to ask you for nothing.
But you don't even get your kids now. You don't even see them now. You complain when anybody asks you to do anything more than you're supposed to do for your kids. So explain how you want full custody when your plate is so full and your responsibilities are so overwhelming now. Mothers, please, do not let these men be out here running you crazy. The reality of the situation is they do not want your children. They can say they love their kids. They can say they want their kids. They do not show up for their kids, period. It's an inconvenience to their life to have the kids. Most of them probably, if you gave them the chance to disappear, not have any financial responsibility, never have to step up and do anything for the child again, and you would never smear their name or run and tell everybody that they're a deadbeat, they would take that opening and run, and you would never see them again. For them, it is about control. Controlling you, controlling the narrative, controlling the way that your child is raised. That is all they want, is control. They can't have you, so now they need to figure out how to control in any aspect that they can. They want to look like their father of the year. They want to make it seem to the whole world that they are an upstanding parent, but the reality is they do not want nothing to do with these kids, and it shows in their actions every single day. If you can go 2 weeks without seeing your kid, checking on your kid, making sure your kid is still breathing, if 5 days could go by and something could have happened to your child and they would have never known because they never check on your child, they do not care about your child. Would you do that? If your kids were just gone for the weekend, I can guarantee as a mom, you're thinking about your kids multiple times throughout the day while they're gone, and they're only gone for 2 days. While these people literally live a life, these fathers live a life where they act as though their kids don't even exist. They don't even think about their kids for 2 weeks. And then when they have to get their kids for a weekend, it's an inconvenience. Stop letting them control you. Just live life like they don't even exist.
You know how some dads expect respect but give you zero emotional safety? Let's unpack that. When you have a father who is a narcissist or displays some very narcissistic tendencies, it doesn't always look like yelling, like full-blown rage. A lot of the times it looks like silence, disapproval, never being good enough, no matter how hard you tried. Everything has to be on their terms. His mood decided whether you had a good day or whether you walked on eggshells. He needed to be the center of attention. If you shined too brightly, he'd either knock you down or find a way to outdo you. He used fear as control, silent treatments, explosive anger, or jokes that weren't really jokes at all. He never took accountability. Even when he hurt you, somehow you would end up apologizing to him, or he acted like nothing ever happened. And you still feel the pressure to prove yourself to him because deep down, a part of you still hopes that he'll finally say, "I'm proud of you." But he never will, not in the way that you need. You didn't imagine this, you didn't overreact, and your worth was never tied to how lovable he made you feel. You deserved better then, and you deserve healing now.
7 ways to tell if you have a narcissistic father, and please listen for number 7. It is crucial. Okay, number 1, you feel like you're always walking on eggshells. Number 2, you don't know from day to day whether you're going to get praise or criticism. Number 3, if they want to get you to do something, they know how to manipulate you or buy you. Number 4, they use guilt and loyalty to get you to keep their secrets. Number 5, you avoid their rage at all costs. Number 6, they condition you to disrespect your mother over time. And number 7, here's the tough one. They have a tendency to cheat, use pornography, and have other sexual issues. So please, guys, if you need help with this, reach out. Please create healthy boundaries to deal with this, and the boundaries have to have consequences.
The days of walking on eggshells are over! ! We are no longer shrinking ourselves to appease narcissistic people, period. They have had rule and reign on our mental sanity for long enough, and that's it, period. If nobody ever told you before, I see you, you were victimized, and it's okay to acknowledge that. It doesn't make you weak to acknowledge that somebody victimized you, especially as a child. But you know what? We can take our life back, take back control, and live every day as best as you can, okay? Stretch yourself, make good decisions, try new things, become the person that you know you can be. Anyway, period. Like this video, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's have some healing and community in the comments, and I will see you guys next time. Catch a live if you can. Bye.